And welcome to STL Sports Page, a special edition here of Cardinal Rewind. It's a Memphis Redbirds Rewind, and it's video instead of audio. We get the chance to talk it over with Steve Selby, the longtime voice of the Memphis Redbirds during our trip to Memphis. And Steve, thank you for joining us here. I have the honor of being on your show yesterday on the radio, and now here you are on STL Sports Page.
It's a small club, isn't it?
We take anybody we can get.
Absolutely.
But I think the one thing that's important here is that people in St. Louis will need to know is that the Memphis Redbirds, the top farm club of the AAA Cardinals and of the Cardinals, the AAA division. We've seen a lot of your guys in St. Louis already, and I have to tell you, when I was talking to a couple of my friends and said we were coming down here for a couple of days to do some stories, they only had one request. They said, "Bring that team back with you."
Well, last year
you guys got it rolling again.
Well, last year the Cardinals took half the team and the Redbirds still won. This year they've taken half the team, the Redbirds still winning. Still waiting for the impact of the young guys in St. Louis, helping win a few more games. But it hasn't seemed to matter who stubby runs out there on a given day. The 9 on the field seem to get the job done.
And I think too the thing is that you see the guys down here that's succeeding. Everybody wants them to come up and play in St. Louis, but the opportunity has to be there. I mean, there's no point in bringing somebody up. We saw this last year with Carson Kelly. When he came up and sat on the bench the second half of the season, I think it really did regress his game a little bit. Finally, it looks like he's got it going a little bit again.
Yeah, I thought in April here he looked like he was behind where he was last year when he got promoted, but he's picked up the pace both offensively and defensively. And you want to talk about a logjam, how about Mr. Dakota Hudson sitting down here leading the league and the world and everything? There's a lot of right-handed arms in the Cardinal system right now.
Yeah. Big story on Dakota Hudson coming up later this week. That's one of the things we're working on here on our trip to Memphis. Who else has caught your eye the first half of the season who you think is just, obviously everybody a phone call away from St. Louis, but when that phone call comes, who do you look for kind of to follow the Jack Flaherty mode and maybe Austin Gomber and some of those guys who come up and earned a spot now and are pitching very well?
Well, I don't know if he's a guy that's being talked about as the next man up, but I think Cardinal fans need to watch Oscar Mercado. He can run down everything from any position, mostly in center field, but he's playing all over the map. Great diving catch yesterday in left field. He runs the bases very well. I think he's going to hit for a little bit more power. If you look at him, he's kind of slightly built, but he's got big hands, big, powerful, quick hands. He's a player to look out for.
Yeah, I know when he played in Springfield last year, everybody raved about his defense, and he's just kind of one of those guys that's make the natural progression. A converted shortstop, was drafted as a shortstop by the Cardinals, tried to play there a couple of years, didn't really work out. They moved him to center field, and it seems to have worked out well.
He looks like he's been there his entire life. His instincts, his jumps. He's not one of those who outruns his bad routes to the ball. He's off and he's there. I don't remember him taking a bad route all year long.
Yeah, we're visiting with Steve Selby, the radio voice of the Memphis Redbirds, here for a few more minutes on STL Sports Page. The other guy everybody always pays attention to in St. Louis because he's a St. Louis kid is Luke Voigt. What a week he had last week in Iowa, including hitting for the cycle. Again, is he a guy that if he gets the right opportunity in St. Louis, you think could succeed at the big league level?
Well, I think he's a guy who has to be given a chance to prove he can or cannot do it. Since he has come back here in this last stint, he's been working with Mark Budaska, some mechanics, and we kidded. I interviewed Luke the day after he hit for the cycle. Normally you don't have quick results like that, but nothing like having that to gain confidence in what you've been working on so hard in the cage, and he's had a great week, and I think he can hit. But again, with these young guys, they've got to get 200, 250 bats to see if they can make the adjustments, just like Tyler O'Neill's got to find out if he can make those adjustments. But certainly Luke has the ability. He showed a hit for average last year as well as power.
How much do you think the guys down here really pay attention to what goes on in St. Louis? I mean, do they try to just block it out and play their game here? But it has to be, subconscious at least to know that, hey, if something happens up there, I could get a shot.
They know everything that's going on up there. They watch the games in the clubhouse when it's on. After the ball game, after we're done playing, they're on their apps and checking to see what the big club's done, who's done what, did somebody come out hurt? Is there another guy at their position with another team that's gotten hurt as well? They don't miss a beat. They know exactly what's going on in St. Louis.
We urge everybody in St. Louis to come down and check it out. The Memphis Redbirds. It's only about a 4-hour drive down I-55. Enough of those players have taken the I-55 shuttle that we encourage some of the fans to come down here and take the shuttle too, because it really is a great environment and a great ballpark.
There was such a thing as frequent driver miles. Our Redbirds guys would have a lot of free trips out there.
That's Steve Selby, the radio voice of the Memphis Redbirds, joining us here on STLSportsPage.com.